he was caught playing around in toilets in Carmarthen and in Cardiff and in Swansea, in the toilet in Morriston, and all that broke. Right? Now Roger said, people wanted him to resign there and then. And Roger sent me a letter. Why, I don't know, because maybe the thought was we were going to recreate the old fight, Gwynoro and Gwynoro in Carmarthen, right? But Gwynoro didn't stand in any case. Carmarthen Edwards stood. But in the very early days, some of the media people started a campaign, here we go again, sort of thing, okay? And Roger sent me a letter, which I got at home, saying he would resign within 3 months, okay? Within a week, he'd been nobbled, hadn't he? Neil Kinnock was the leader, he'd been nobbled, because Alan Williams was now going to be the candidate in a prospective by-election, okay? Within a few weeks, because they went quickly to choose a candidate in case things were going to go wrong, in case something else could have happened with Dr. Thomas. He was a close friend of mine for years and years, until we went our separate ways at the end of the 70s. He'd been central to my campaigns in 70, 74, Roger, I was surprised about the publicity about what he was, I just thought of all those local people he was the doctor to in Carmarthen and Croissants and Garrigoft, and he carried on as a doctor, by the way, for years afterwards until he died. I was sure. The truth is, Roger was not cut out for politics. He was too quiet and nice a man. He was a nice, quiet man. But his wife, Indeg, another Indeg, was a highly ambitious woman. Conductress of a choir, used to being in the limelight. Carmarthen conductors, very, very powerful, pleasant woman, but 10 times stronger than Roger, 10 times stronger. And I think she fancied this role of being the MP's wife. And I think she was behind pushing him, but she pushed him too far. I have no doubt about that. It was a few steps too far for Roger Thomas. And if he had other problems, which he clearly had, of a sexual nature, well, he went to the wrong place, didn't he? He could contain it probably locally in Carmarthen, and a bit like Carwyn James, to be honest. He had a problem. If Carwyn had not become an international figure, I'm sure Carwyn would be alive today. But when he went in another world, outside the world of Tabernacle Chapel and his parents and the community and things like that, when he entered that world and the temptations of that world, same thing happened to Roger, and he really went to the heart of where anything was possible. As Ron Davis and others have found out since. And I have said it many a times, and I'm saying it publicly here. He was not cut out to be an MP, and no one should have pushed him, because they pushed him a step too far. Anyway, and he was easily manipulated. So Kinnock, obviously, and the hierarchy of the Labour Party, manipulated him to say, look, you can't have a by-election. You can't resign. You've got to hang on until the 87 election. Because otherwise, there's going to be a by-election, and for sure Plaid Cymru will win it, and maybe that terrible bloke that used to be one of our people, he'll be there as a candidate as well. My chances of winning were probably quite low compared to Howell Tivey. Howell Tivey would probably have won it. Okay? So poor Roger had to pretend that he never ever promised to resign. I didn't make much of an issue of it. All I said once in an interview was, look, I've got the letter. But whenever Roger thinks, he knows what he told me. He's entitled to change his mind, or other people to make, so they forced him to stay. And I know he was a very, very unhappy man, having to do another 2-3 years in London. And so was Alan Williams very unhappy. Because Alan thought he was going to be in Parliament in 84, didn't he? He thought, by-election. And he was unhappy as well, that he was chaffing at the bit to go to Parliament, wasn't he? Although, from his point of view, he wouldn't have won. He wouldn't have won a by-election. For whatever Alan thought of himself, he would, with two powerful candidates, have been a shambling wreck, to be honest. He would not have stood the strain of the double attack from Howell Tivey and myself. He would not have stood the strain of that. In a general election, it's easier, which he did in 87, and he won. Okay? And that was my second mistake. I had said to myself, I'll fight a by-election in Carmarthen. And if there's no by-election, I won't fight the general election. But I changed my mind. And I should not have done it. And the old adage of never go back is true. It is true. Everything's changed. You know what I mean? 1970 to 87, two different worlds. The Carmarthen of 1970, the villages of 1970, and the villages of 87. I noticed it when I was going around the constituency in 87, more English people in the villages, more English speaking communities. You know what I mean? The older generation that used to remember me in the 70s, many of them had passed away, and but it was a mistake to stop. But I did stand, and I got fourth. It upset me, mind. A bad vote. It was a bad vote. Well, no, it wasn't so much a bad vote. To come fourth, I think, was the problem, because I still think I had one of the highest Lib Dem votes in Carmarthen, even on that night. I have a feeling I had about 10,000, and I don't think anybody else has got anywhere near that since 87. I don't think so. I think that's the biggest vote. I can claim myself to have one of the largest Labour votes in Carmarthen and one of the largest Liberal Democrat votes in Carmarthen. Anyway, but it was a sad night for me. I was very upset that night. I remember crying, actually.